Hey, beautiful friends, it's time for another sharing that I'm feeling that's coming through me. And today, what's here is the topic of letting go. What does letting go mean, and why is it important? So, what I've been contemplating is the business world and how controlled it is, how rigid in the way it uses rationality and mind, and emotions are something that is absolutely outside of the boardroom. You leave your emotions at the door. You leave your feminine at the door. So what's walking in is your masculine. It's your rational mind. It's how you can apply logic to creating, to the process of building something that usually is directed towards creating wealth for the people involved. And while this is useful in creating many of the things that we see and use every day around us, there's also a terrible loss and sadness in the process of only creating from our rational mind. Half of us is having to be left outside of the door. So why are we leaving half of us outside of the door? Why are we leaving our feminine, our connection to our bodies, our emotions, our intuition? Why is that outside? And what are we afraid of if we had to let that in? Now, I've also been contemplating how we've gone on this evolutionary journey from 2 million years ago when we were learning to stand upright. It was the time of Homo erectus, and we were coming from our animal bodies, our instinctual bodies, and learning to stand upright. We were developing our brains and our ability to individuate, to develop our consciousness, and know ourselves as individuals, like a 2-year-old child would. And of course, within that, there's a need to control what you own, what you have. Like a 2-year-old child wants to claim its toys. It learns the word mine. And in the same way, it's like we at that stage of development as human beings, where we have learned to individuate. We have developed our sense of self. And there's this great fear that we're going to lose what we have to the other. And there is a fear in that. And that fear has locked us down. It's a locking down of matter, and it creates a very dense structure within matter. So if you think of the process of creation as coming from infinite consciousness, infinite space, infinity, where everything is possible. And if you think of how space is, and that anything can be drawn from matter in the form of ideas, in the form of creativity. So we draw from that body of energy, and we learn to focus that energy. And the more powerful we are able to focus that energy, the more effective we are at bringing things into being, bringing things into matter, into creation. So that ability to focus and direct energy, it is masculine energy. Masculine penetrates. It's the penetration of matter with this directing of consciousness with our intention into matter. But the problem is, once we've created something, we can get stuck in it. It can become rigid because we don't want to lose it. We want to control it. And that's where the problem comes in the business realm and in our lives in general, when we have a fear of losing the little thing that we've created. And I say little because on the other side of fear is the infinite expansive consciousness from which that came. It's infinite. It can create anything, and it can continue to create many, many, many more things if we simply relax, if we simply feel our fear, breathe into our fear, and feel our connectedness to our source, to that infinite energy, to what's possible. And when we relax and we can connect to our source again, we can breathe life into our creations. We can tune into our creations and start to sense where these creations want to go when they connect to humanity, to the earth, to the bigger body that we are. How do they want to serve life? And we allow this life force to come through us into our creations, to move, because it's alive, it's consciousness. And we allow it to move into our creations, and our creations have life. So we don't hold on to them and keep them small and rigid. We let go, we surrender. Surrender is literally letting go of fear. It's that out breath. It's dropping of the fear and relaxing and expanding and allowing that energy to flow through us into our creations. And when we do that, everything relaxes. Everything can breathe out and come to a place of more peace. I'm not fearing that everyone's going to take from me. I'm not fearing that I'm going to lose out, because I know that I'm connected to this infinite source where I cannot lose out, because there's infinite abundance from what I'm connected into. And therefore I can let go. I can offer my creations in service to life. I can give. And when we learn to start to give, then everyone relaxes, and everyone can also receive that transmission of abundance. And they can learn to connect into their source. And when we're all connected into our source, and we're trusting this flow of life, of our creative gifts that we can give from a place that is aligned and that feels right, then we all start to live in this flow of abundance, of giving and receiving from the infinite source, not from fear-based holding on, clutching on, which creates matter that cannot be penetrated by consciousness. It cannot be penetrated by light, cannot be penetrated by the information, the living life that wants to flow through matter, to enliven it. And that process is part of how we learn about ourselves, how we grow in consciousness. Our consciousness expands and learns about itself through our creations that we allow ourselves to experience, to learn from, and to let go when they've served their purpose, and know that the next creation is available to us whenever we feel that inspiration. So just to recap back to the concept of letting go, it's a breathing out, a relaxation, a letting go of the fear-based holding on, fearing that the worst is going to happen, connecting back into that infinite abundance from which we came, the spaciousness, and learning to relax into that flow of trust, trusting life to move through us and to regenerate through us. And when we do this, we are linking that beautiful masculine consciousness into the feminine matter, our creations. We are bringing it life, and that's the penetration of the masculine into the feminine. And then that feminine is able to blossom and nourish and give back to the earth, give back to humanity, give back to life, and live and go back into that cycle of life, the composting for the next creation to come. And it's this beautiful union of our masculine and the feminine on a much broader spectrum than most of us understand it to be. It's taking that whole energy through us and allowing it to go into matter and inform our life. And not only inform our life, but inform our whole planet as a species, and the consciousness that we are, the journey of consciousness that we are all on together. So thanks for listening to me today, and until next time, so much love.